Hello students and my dear friends, myself HR Chaudhary, working as assistant professor in Department of CSE Engineering College Ajmer. Today we'll discuss the remaining topics in regression testing. As yesterday we discussed some topics of regression testing. Yesterday we had done this, what is regression testing and need of regression testing we already covered. How to do regression testing, it is also already covered. Selection of test cases in the regression testing, it is also we have covered in the last lecture. So now the regression testing tools, so this will cover today. So we can have the different kinds of regression testing tools, as we know very well, because it becomes very difficult to make the manual cases, and it becomes very time consuming and cost increases very much. So we should use the automated tools basically. And if software undergoes a frequent changes, definitely regression testing cost will encapsulate, or it increases very high. Or in such cases, manual execution of the test cases increases test execution time and as well as the cost, we know very well. The automation of regression test cases is the smart choice in that cases, definitely. So to extend the automation depends on the number of test cases that remain the reusable for successive regression cycles. So with a certain kind of regression tool through which we can automate the regression testing, as the first one we can see here. The first one is Ranorex Studio, and then second one is Selenium, third one is Quick Test Professionals, that is also known as QTP, and the fourth one is the Rational Functional Tester, that is also known as RFT. So these are the certain tools in market. Many more tools may be possible. So we start from the Ranorex Studio. It is all-in-one regression test automation for the desktop computers, web and the mobile apps with built-up Selenium web drivers. It includes full ID plus tools for codeless automation. So basically it is used for a lot of automated test cases. Now next one is the Selenium. This is an open source tool used for automating web applications. So basically Selenium is much more emphasized on web applications, or with the help of Selenium we can use browser based regression testing basically. So it is much more better for the regression based testings. And the third one is Quick Test Professionals. It's again tool. An HP Quick Test Professional is automated software design to automate the functional and basically regression test cases. It uses the VB script language or Visual Basic Script language for automation, or it is a data driven keyword based tool. Yeah, definitely it's a data driven keyword based tool basically. And the next one is a rational functional testing, that is also known as RFT. It's a different kind of tool which is developed by IBM, or as a rational functional tester, that is a Java tool, and basically used to automate the test cases of software application. Or this is primarily used for the automating regression test cases, and it also integrates with the rational test manager. So it's a very important tool basically. Now we look forward, we move forward, that is the regression testing and the configuration management. Definitely it's very important to manage the configuration when we are performing the regression testing, because configuration management during regression testing becomes imperative in agile environment, or where a code is being continuously modified. So now to ensure the effective regression test, we observe the following number of points that is very important, or it makes the effective regression testing. So number one, we can say the code being regression tested should be under a configuration management tool. Yeah, definitely it should be under configuration management tool when we are moving the regression testing, when we are going under the regression testing. Second one, no changes must be allowed to the code during the regression test phases. Or definitely a regression test code must be kept immune to developer changes. So when we are performing any kind of regression testing, that time any kind of change in the code should not be allowed, otherwise it can affect your regression testing and the result and the software basically. The third one, the database used for the regression testing must be isolated. Yeah, definitely no database change must be allowed. So when you are performing the regression testing, so the database of the software should be done isolated, though no changes and any kind of changes should not be allowed at the time of regression testing in the database, so that the software can become effective after the regression testing. So these are the things that should be keep in mind when you are performing the regression testing. Now we move to the next slide. Now we look important thing is, if you want to have look at retesting and the regression testing. So what is there any difference between retesting and the regression testing? So retesting means a testing of the functionality and the bug again to ensure the code is fixed. If it is not fixed, the defect needs to be reopened definitely, or if defect is closed. So in retesting, we got a error or a fault in the software, and we rectify that kind of fault in the software, and then again we send the software for the retesting, and then if it is okay, then it will ready for the deployment. Means we got any kind of defect basically in retesting, then we go for the retesting. But in regression testing, we imply on certain kind of changes. Yani that means after applying the certain kind of changes, the software is getting any other modules are affected or not. We are looking at that. So regression testing means testing your software application when it undergoes a code change to ensure that the new code has not affected other parts of the software. So it is done for that basically. And configuration during the regression testing becomes very imperative, definitely, as we know already. So in the we know difference between retesting and the regression testing. The retesting means already we have done that, it's not executing the code. It is basically when we got any kind of error, and then we are fixing that error. Okay. And in regression, we normally we are doing any kind of changes in that particular module, and due to that kind of changes, the other modules are affected or not. So basically it has a great difference. Now we move to the next slide. Now we have the certain kind of challenges in the regression testing, as we know very well, because when we do any kind of changes in a certain kind of module and that affects the other modules, so it is becomes very necessary to imply that all the test cases should be applied again to all the modules, though we have a certain kind of challenges for that. So certain kind of challenges are there, like the first one is time and cost, and the second one we can say the maintenance and the complexity, and the third one brittle task. So we start from the time and cost. Definitely it increases very much. So regression tests involve running test cases that have already passed, which can be hard to justify to stakeholders, and mind numbers of quality assurance engineers. Definitely it's hard to justify the time that it takes to create and run the tests, as well as the high cost test related services and infrastructure, especially when you don't appreciate the value it adds. Test complete helps and reduce the time and cost for writing testers. Using its record and reply capabilities, and test engineers can create complex and scalable automated user interface tests in seconds. Definitely, these scripts can then be configured to run the automatically as part of a continuous integration, or after each new build or release candidate. So this is a great problem, time and cost, because we have to write a lot of tests, and definitely it takes time and definitely cost. The second one is maintenance and complexity. Regression test inevitability becomes large and complex over the course of a complex development project. The number of test cases as well as the function and process that they check can easily number in the thousands, which makes it impractical for the quality assurance engineer to test them manually without consuming significant time and resources. And test complete makes it easy to automate regression tests using a wide range of different platforms, such as already we had discussed a lot of automated platforms. At the same time, we can manage all our desktop, web and mobile function user interface tests within a single application, which eliminates the need of for tens or hundreds of different tools and libraries that would requires otherwise. So it becomes very complex basically. And third one, we look at the brittle test. The regression tests are great when they identify issues before a production build, but there are nothing more frustrating than a test shoot that throws constant false positives, or tests that when fail when they should pass. Brittle tests that generate false positive are frustrating for the stakeholders, definitely developers and test engineers, and that could make everyone second guess the process. Test complete comes with an intelligent object repository and the support for over 500 controls. So we can ensure that our GUI tests are scalable basically, and robust and easy to maintain. Whereas a small UI change could break the Selenium test, and test completes hybrid projects recognition engine leverage artificial intelligence to detect and test dynamic elements quickly and accurately basically. So these are the things which affect, and these are the challenges which very difficult to solve out in the regression testing, but we have a certain kind of practices through which we can avoid the challenges, or we can fight at a little bit of the challenges. We had If we apply, if we adapt the automating testing. So automated testing, as we already discussed, is a dramatically cuts down a long term time and cost definitely. Or manual quality, a short tester will become bored and lose motivation if they are required to rerun the same task all the time definitely. Second practice we can adapt, that is narrow the focus. Focus on the most frequent use cases for the software application, rather than trying to test everything at a once. For example, we can consider user sign-ups and user sign-ins, or the purchases might be best starting points, maybe definitely. And the third one, the prune the pack regression tests take up time and the resources. So it's important to remove any test that checks if all features work or cover obsolete versions of the software. We should only be testing what really matters. And the last practice may be there, that is the use of insights. So we should adapt the use of insights if you want to fight with the challenges. So regression tests are only as useful as test engineers and developers makes them. Create easy way to transform regression into a tickets of developers, or as well as the reporting tools to keep stakeholders informed. So these are the things through which we can avoid, or we can fight at certain levels with the challenges in the regression testing. Otherwise, lot of challenges are there where it's very difficult to fight with those kind of challenges in regression testing. So now it's over this topic, and thank you.